Steve, thanks for joining us. 3-1 defeat tonight at home to Hendon. Your immediate thoughts and reaction, performance and result?
Yeah, obviously really disappointed. The performance at times I thought was okay in spells of games, in spells in the game, should I say. The break for us probably come at a decent time. It's given us a chance to get a few people fit, get a couple of people in, work on things. But it doesn't matter what you work on in training or what instruction you give. If you start like we started in the first 5 or 6 minutes, you've got a problem. First goal, just poor defending. Didn't get out to the throw, didn't get out to the cross. We've got playing free at the back and their centre forward heads it in unmarked at the far post. And then the second goal was another penalty. I think you've just said there that's 6 penalties we've conceded in 6 games. You can't be unlucky. Listen, I was saying the other week we've been unlucky with a few things, but you can't keep blaming bad luck. Was it a penalty? 50-50, but we've got a bad habit of giving the referee an opportunity to make a decision. Listen, it didn't take much for Frank to go down, but I've got no problem with that because I'd like one of ours to actually do that. We're too nice to the other end. We don't go down, as we've seen a couple of times this season, but it's all very well playing half decent football after that and then having good spells in the second half and good pressure, you get a goal and you think we could get back. I can't keep standing on the side saying to Wilkes, if we nick a goal we'll get back in this, because every week we're having to score 2 or 3 goals to get back in the game. You're never going to get out of the issue we're in at the minute. Have we got a good enough side out there tonight to do better than that? 100% we have, but we didn't do it. And if you defend like that, we've conceded 3, you ain't going to win the game. Simple.
I mean, as you touched upon a few things there, I mean, before going in, slow start and penalties, tonight was a combination of both, a slow start and a penalty, 2-0 down after 7 minutes. It's becoming, 7 games into the league season, obviously, the FA Cup game as well, I think, where we conceded early. What do you think's behind it? You give a team talk, 7:40 going out the dressing room, or 5-3 going out the dressing room door, and 10 minutes later you're 1-0, 2-0 down. What do you think is the problem, as you said, because it keeps happening? Obviously there isn't a pattern of conceding early ends and penalties.
It's a really difficult question to answer. I've had to stitch it myself up because I still believe what I'm asking them to do is right. I still believe I'm good enough to get us out of the position we're in. But when we worked so hard in training in the last week of how we wanted to play, what we wanted to do, and you can't always play the same every week. It might depend on who you're playing against or who's available. But sometimes there's things happen as a manager. It doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter how you set up, it doesn't matter what you do in training. Sometimes for whatever reason, you might not start games straight out of the traps, and you find in football you get certain spells where you concede early, or you might concede late goals, or there could be various things, and that happens at all levels, and I understand that. And sometimes, listen, the best managers in the world could stand here and say, sometimes I can't really give you an answer to that. But what you've got to make sure is if your opposition starts sharper than you just stay in the game. You stay solid, because sometimes that just happens. But we're not doing that, and again, we're conceding early goals. At Bracknell, twice now on the spin, again tonight. And when you're saying the last thing you're saying to the lads is just make sure you start well, we're on the front foot, let's get out, it should be nice and fresh. And you go out and get the complete opposite to that. It would be easier to actually stand here and say, I don't think they listen to a word I'm saying, I don't think they're playing for me. But the effort was there tonight. The determination was there, they were trying to get back in the game, but can't keep trying to get back in the game, be in the game.
It sounds like a daft thing to say, as you said, the 2 goals at the start of the first half, and then again another goal, a bit like Hayes as well. One way you're probably thinking, as you just said, let's not do anything silly start the second half, but before you know it, you're 3-0 down again, an early goal in the second half as well. But the start of the second half kind of summed things up as well, I think, in where we are at the moment. It could have been 2-1, George has had a chance, obviously, that we'll see on the highlights. Cleared off, looked like a miraculous clearance off the line at one end. It could have been 2-1, and literally 30 seconds later, it's 3-0 at the other end, and that just kind of summed things up at the moment.
That was probably the difference between the 2 sides tonight. And listen, fair play to Hendon and Lee. They've come in, they've done the job on us tonight. They deserve to win the game. I'm not going to stand here and make all excuses for this and that. the difference was they did the right things at the right time, and they defended better than we did. Yeah, all right, we had a couple of other half chances, but so did they. Charlie's made a couple of good saves, but the ones you're talking about there, all right, if George's one goes in, it could change the game, but I can't keep standing there saying what could have happened. But they actually defended it and cleared it. 30 seconds later, they get thrown in the corner. We don't pick anyone up. We've got loads of people behind the ball, but we could have 50 people behind the ball. But if you don't want to mark people, goes in the box, one of the forwards slots it in. And we haven't defended properly. And the difference was tonight, they did. And that was the difference between the sides.
Well, kind of going back to as you said, I'm going to keep talking about it, but the slow start, obviously tonight, 2-0 down after 6 or 7 minutes. But particularly frustrating tonight, where you think you wouldn't have known it. I think looking at you're playing Hendon, who before tonight, bottom of the league, lost 6 out of 6. Let's make it 7 kind of thing, and before you know it, you're 2-0, you've given them 2 goals in the first 7 minutes.
Well, that's the problem though, James. We've done exactly what they wanted us to do, and probably what their team talk was about, because I'm not stupid, they'll have looked at the last couple of games when you concede early and you've maybe gone 2 or 3 behind in games, so their team talk would have probably been get at them, get an early goal and ask them questions and see how they react, and that's exactly what they did, but we have to be better than that. And listen, I'll take the blame for certain things. We tried a couple of things tonight. I thought 1 or 2 of them worked, 1 or 2 of them maybe not so good, but we weren't getting results with other formations we tried. Tonight we went 3 at the back. We've still conceded 3 goals. It's my job to fight. Listen, ultimately, I'll take the blame for that. I'm the manager. I understand how it works, but I can't put any more work than I'm putting into it at the minute to try and get the results. You just have to keep trying, and you hope it turns. I can't work any harder than I'm working. The players are working. There's no doubt about the work rate or the effort, but you have to get the basics right. All right, we're not creating loads of chances, we're not scoring loads of goals. That's probably more of a confidence thing as well. But the problem is we're conceding goals. And if you, at any level, if you can't eradicate that problem, you have got a major problem, and we need to find a solution for it quickly.
Another home game on Saturday, North Lee. So, any immediate thoughts on the way, as you said, obviously tried a different formation tonight, and obviously the subs that came on in the second half. Any immediate thoughts of how Saturday might go, how you might look on Saturday, any changes you might make or things to consider?
Yeah, I mean there'll certainly be a few things to think about. I have to be a little bit careful that we don't keep making massive changes every game, i.e. personnel, shape, style of play, because we get an hour and a half on a Thursday to work, and I don't want to over-confuse the players on what we're asking them to do, because against Bracknell we tried to go a little bit more direct. We lost the game 4-1. Tonight we've tried to play more, which is what we would normally try and do. We've lost 3-1. Listen, there's things to think about. We spoke to the boys before about a couple of games we had coming up, obviously with Hendon, North Lee. We go to Beaconsfield, and then I believe we're now going to Dorchester in a couple of weeks. And we looked at what our target was within them games. Yes, we've got nothing tonight. The overall target hasn't changed in those, what I think we need to get out of them games, but it puts more pressure on to the next game. And Saturday, we need to win the game. Whether it's North Lee coming here, whether it's Truro, Asian Hendon coming here, we need to win the game. We need to play better, but we need to defend better. If we defend better, we've got every chance of winning any game that we play, and we've showed that before. But if we defend like that, we won't. Simple as that.
Just to finish, you kind of were obviously still, pardon the cliche, very early in the season. Obviously, I think tonight was games 7. But the longer a bad run, a bad start goes on, the harder it is to get out of. Are you kind of conscious of that? There's still 35 games to go, which is obviously the reassuring thing. Time to put it right, but the longer it goes on, the harder it is to put it right.
Listen, I don't think about you could have any other manager standing there, they give you the same answer. You think about it 24/7. You continue thinking, what about this? What if we try this? What if we do this? What if we do that? And trying to come up with a solution to try and get it right. And yes, and you're right, you've got loads and loads of games to play, but as a manager you don't think like that. When you're on a bad run, it's we just said to the boys there, when you're on a good run, it looks after itself. You don't say a lot, you come in, you train, you tick over, and things go your way and players are playing well. Confidence is massive. I don't think we're playing with hugely low confidence, but something's not right in how we're performing at the minute. But that has to turn, and that has to turn quick. I said it at the last interview. I'm not daft. If I'm standing here in 4 or 5 games' time and we haven't picked up another point, I might not be standing here in 4 or 5 games' time. But we need to find a solution. Ultimately, it's my job to find a solution to do it. I can hear 1 or 2 of the supporters getting frustrated tonight, and I get that. Listen, they want to win as much as I do. But the only thing I would say is we're trying to do everything we can to get it right. It's difficult sometimes when you're struggling. You get an hour and a half on a Thursday. But listen, it's the same for most other non-league managers. I get that. But no, we are on probably the worst run I've had since I've been here. I would probably hazard a guess at that. And sometimes you look and you think, well, where's the next point coming from? The next point has to come Saturday. Actually, the next 3 points needs to come on Saturday. But ultimately, we need to go into Saturday and don't lose the game. There was some positives tonight. It's not. Listen, it is doom and gloom. I'm not going to go and sleep well tonight, and I know the players are gutted. But we have to go against Saturday. So we can do work hard training on Thursday, and we need to try and find a way to win the game. But as I've said a few times now, it starts with getting the defence right. Because if you defend like that, you're going to struggle to win any game, and that's the bit that we need to get right first of all.
Steve, thank you very much for joining us. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your honesty. Good luck on Saturday.
No problem. Cheers, gents. Thank you.